Hello, everybody, and happy Monday. It is Monday, right? I'm never sure of my days anymore.
It's Monday.
Yay, thank you, Candy.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. How is everybody? Hey, Margie. Hi, Toby. Hello, Laura. Hi,
Hello.
Karen.
Hello, everybody.
Karen from Oregon. Awesome. Hey,
Beautiful state.
Glynis. Hey, Sandy. Let's see. Typo queens. Yeah, Karen, we don't worry about typos because, we know as long as we know what you're talking about, we don't worry about going back and fixing it. So,
They were explaining why we were saying Jello instead of hello.
oh, oh, and did she finish? Did she explain that?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't reading that. Good. Okay. Because she's probably like, yeah, you people are weird. Why are you saying Jello? All right, I'm trying to get this up on YouTube. Hi, Maki. Hi, Julie. Hi, Linda. All right, one moment. This is going to cooperate. Well, you guys know Candy's funny. I was taking a drink and she made me laugh and I choked, and so
She blames it on me, ladies. Me. I didn't do nothing. I'm not even there.
so if I start to choke and cough here, I'll just mute myself and Candy can carry it. Because it just happened. And then your throat's all weird for half an hour because it's thinks it's choking. Oh, goodness. Christine. Hi, Christine from North Carolina. Awesome. Welcome to new people. If this is your first time here, and if you have not been to Happy Paper People Facebook group yet, we invite you to join us there. Give it Candy a minute and she can grab the link to the Facebook group and put it in the chat. When you go there are what? Make her work. There are 3 questions. If you answer the 3 questions, it'll let you right in. You won't have to wait to be admitted. That's the trick. Yeah, who else should I blame, Candy? You're the only one here, Margie says. Hi, Kathy.
Her fault, herself, because it's always Mary Ann's fault.
That's true. Karen, welcome. We're so glad you're here. Oh, she just got into the Facebook group. Awesome. And Christine, Candy put the link in, and Christine can go check it out. Karen, where in Oregon are you? We like Oregon. We've got lots of people in Washington in Happy Paper People. Yeah, I'm still trying to get my throat normalized. Candy. And Christine, where in North Carolina are you? Laura always blames things on the cat. Well, I could blame it on Lucy, but that's not very nice.
Kids were a little weak. They blamed it on the fish.
Oh.
The fish in there. I'm like, okay, whatever.
The fish made me do it.
Yeah.
Oh, Greensboro, awesome. Malala. Oh, I know I've heard of Malala. What's the next largest city that you're close to, Karen? Malala. And I'm familiar with Greensboro. That's awesome.
Oh, yes. You're going to get a referral. Maybe not a badge, but you're going to
Margie, did you refer both of them? Okay. We have something coming up that is going to include referrals, and Maki, these 2 friends of yours can start your qualifying for it with 2 referrals. So write down their name, because you're going to need to write down a list of the people that you refer for what's coming up. That won't be announced today, but really, really soon. It'll be this week. It'll be announced this week. So, yeah, I haven't done the post, but Laura, yeah, put Maki as the first person on the list. I realized this morning that I didn't get the post in. So, and what that means is Laura has graciously volunteered to send anybody who invites a friend and they join Happy Paper People Facebook group and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Laura is going to send out a group of a group, a package. I can't even think straight. I just slid in here and just in the nick of time. They don't even know that, Candy, huh? Laura's going to send out a package of cards, playing cards, game cards, those kinds of things, because we love to alter them and do fun things there. So, definitely put Karen down as your first referral. Woo, woo. Welcome, Carol. Karen. I said Carol. Oh, my goodness. Carol was the nurse I just saw. All right, deep breath. It's Monday. I had an appointment this morning that lasted all morning, and I literally slid in 5 minutes ago. Candy was prepared to go live and entertain you by herself until I got here.
I know, ladies, I was prepared to go live. I wasn't prepared to entertain.
She's prepared to go live and make you entertain yourself, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, so today we are going to have a tag workshop. Tags are probably the one thing that I get the most questions about and the most requests for doing lives on. And what I hear the most is people always say that tags are so easy to make, putting them together and all of that, but they aren't. And when I go to do them, then I just don't know what to do and how to do it and all of that. So we're going to have a tag workshop, and we might need a second one based on how far we get. And excuse me while my throat is trying to settle down. I'm working on it. I do have something to drink here. So we're going to start from the beginning, and I don't know how far we'll get through in decorating. So we might have a part 2 that'll be just for decorating tags, because when I make tags, I typically like to do a sort of mass make, kind of, sort of. It's so much easier and it's so much faster. So whenever you make a tag, let's start with this. Whenever you make a tag, you need to have a base, a tag base. I'm going to pull out a variety here. Let's see. So starting with some tag bases is the first place you need to start. Now these bases are all in kind of different stages, kind of not. And what I mean by that is, let me grab one of these. You'll see some of them have ring holes on them. This one even has a string. This one has a ring hole. And some of them don't even have holes punched yet. I don't always punch the holes because I don't always know what kind of hole I will want. Sometimes I want a slot hole. Sometimes the regular round hole. Sometimes I want 2. And so I can put a ribbon through and tie it in a bow across there with 2 eyelets, a variety of things. So I will make all of the above. And not hum. So starting with the tag base, you want an easy way to get a stash of tag bases. So this little container right here is full of tag bases. And, I forgot to bring the other one out. Oh, well, that's okay. We're going to make some of those. Different kinds of tag bases. So these tag bases have nothing on them. There are some that do, that are still tag bases. A base, this is the substrate. The thing that we are going to make the tag on is the substrate. And then we might put a few things on it, and it's still our tag base. It may not be a completed tag. It's still a tag base. But the substrate is the very bottom layer of whatever we start building on. So you might have a piece of cool looking cardstock that you want to cut into tags. That's all this is. You might have some old file folders. I had one old red file folder sitting around, and that's what this is. And I've got a variety of sizes out of that one, based on how you cut it. I've got some large. This is also file folder. There's a whole, what did I do with them? There we go. These are also old file folders. And these are one of my favorite bases of all is old file folders. And if you go to garage sales or places like that, thrift stores, watch for file folders because you can pick up full boxes, brand new boxes of file folders for $2 or $3 often. These old brown kind of folders, they're much thicker, but these are great. I picked these up from an estate sale and just cut them up into different tag sizes. So they are perfect substrates for tags. So if you are cutting tags, put those over here. If you want to prepare your substrate so that you have a bunch of tag bases ready to go, there are a couple of ways that I will offer to you that are super easy to do that. Of course, there's many ways. And just, remember that I'm going to offer you a few ways to do it, but it's certainly not all the ways. And the point is for someone who has not been doing it and wants a way to do it, a good way, easy way, and a way to get started, that's what these are. And after you've been doing it a while, you might decide, oh, I want to do this or I want to try that. And different times you might want to do different things. So I don't present these with the idea that it is the end all be all and the only way to prepare tag bases. But I'm going to give you a couple of ways. First thing is to have a template. This was a store-bought tag, and I like the size, and it doesn't help that this is white, does it? Maybe it'll show up a little bit better on here. I like the size. I think it's like 6 1/4 by 3 1/8, or 3 1/8, which is weird to me, but I do like the size. It is a nice and big one, and I could also cut it in half, have 2 smaller ones, or put it this way and cut it in thirds and have 3 small tags that way. But for a large tag, I thought this is a decent size. So you can use a regular purchase tag, or if you've cut one that you really like, just save one, use it as your template. You can also take a piece of packaging, which is going to be thicker and usually some kind of plastic coated, and put it on there and cut around it and make a template out of that, because this is nice and thick and it's not going to tear as easily. And at a glance, I can always tell it's my template very easily. So what I will do, here's one way to take an old file folder. These are old file folders that I've used them in my office. When I sold that business, then I brought all these file folders home ready to use for something else. So I can take that template and a pencil, and I can start anywhere. You can go right over the folds here if you want. I choose not to. I like to go up to them. So I might even just start right here at that fold, because I know I'm going to cut this little inner thing off, but that's just the way I like to do it. Some people go right over the top of it and let it be part of their card. And I'm going to put this here, and I hope it's all on screen. It might not be, but I'll get up to the top in a second here. And just do a quick draw around the tag. Okay, and there's a tag. And then put it right next to it, so they share that same wall. And do it again. I can tell that. There we go. Do it again, just down the 3 sides, or actually the 2 sides, because I'm using the edge of the file folder as the bottom of the tag. So I really only had to do the 2 sides on that one. And then I can come up here and I say, oh, look at that. It's going to overlap. It's not quite going to make that. So if I turn it around and let the top be up here, and they can share that top. And if I go up this side and across here and down this side, I've still got a perfect tag. It's just 3/4 of an inch shorter. So, and then I move over one and do the same thing here. And I only have to do one side and that one little corner up there. So I've got 4 tags right there just ready to be cut out. They can be cut by hand with scissors. They can be cut with a paper trimmer. So I'm going to show you the other way with the same file folder. And I just have the small paper trimmer with me right now. And guys, if you think about it, if you have a question, if you try to remember to put 3 or 4 question marks and then write your question and then put 3 or 4 question marks after it. Candy's going to be watching the chat today, and that makes it a little easier for her to see. It kind of jumps out at us. And if your question is all in caps, it really, really helps, because there's a lot of conversation going on, which we love, but we don't need to be, in the middle of all your conversation. But we want to not miss any questions that come along. So if you can do that, we will probably be able to get all the questions, if there are any. Okay, and then I'll continue cutting these 2 down. But let me show you the other way. So I've got the other half of the file folder, and instead of tracing them, I'm going to cut off that center fold area because I don't want to use that.
Dawn joined us.
Hi, Dawn.
Margie said Ted can be any size and shape. That's true.
Yes, absolutely. Any size and shape. Yes. Okay, so if I, when I measured this template, it was 6 1/4 by 3 1/8. So if I want this size, then I'm going to look at this and I say, if I cut it in 6 1/4 by 3 1/8, I'm going to have that size of tag. So I can take this, and you can cut it either direction, but I'm going to say I go 3 1/8. That was 2 1/8. If I go, why do I keep looking at 2 and thinking it's 3? I did that yesterday too. If I go 3 1/8, then I cut this all the way. And you don't even have to have a long paper trimmer to cut long paper. I do it all the time on this short one.
Karen, we do lives on Mondays at
12 noon Mountain Time, so 11 your time in Oregon. Every Monday is Monday Jumpstart.
And we have them on Thursday.
Thursday at 2 Mountain, so 1 o'clock Pacific, 2 to 4. That's Thursday Mass Make.
And then we have every 2nd and 4th Saturday.
2nd and 4th Saturday night is Saturday Night Live, and that is 6 to 8 Mountain, so 5 to 7 Pacific. Okay, so when I cut the length of that, and I cut it 3 1/4, so it would be the same width as this one. Then I cut off 3 1/8, and then I cut off 6 1/4. I've got one the size of this, and then what was left was this. That's still a perfect tag. It's just a little shorter, which is exactly what I got over here when I traced that one around. This time I'm just going by measurement. If you don't want to measure, just trace it and cut. If you do want to measure, then you can do this way. And so I'll do the next strip. So I did this at 3 1/8. And then I'll do the first one at 6 1/4. And what I have left is 5 1/2, which is a great size tag. Okay, what have I got left? I've got left about 2 3/4. All right, so I'm going to go to the end, and I'm just going to cut off this little hook thing here. I'm not going to worry about all of the rounded part because I'll cut that off when I cut the corners. And this one is about 2 3/4 wide. So then I can decide how long I want it. I'll cut off the tab. Okay, and so if this whole thing is 8, 9, 10, 11. So this whole thing is about 11 1/2 long. So I'm just eyeballing it because, as you said, tags can be any size. So if I just eyeball it and say if I cut this in thirds, that makes 3 small, cool tags, or I could cut it in half and have 2 taller, longer. They're a little bit thinner, but they're still taller. I think maybe I'll do that. So I'm going to put it at about 5.5, somewhere in there, and cut that in half. Not exactly in half, doesn't even matter because tags are all different sizes. So from one half of the file folder, I got these ready to go as tag bases. And from the other half of the file folder, I got these ready to go. Now, let me finish cutting those. Finish cutting these so you can see that there is a little bit of leftover on that one. Okay, I think these are perfect small tags. If I'm making a tiny or mini book, I need some teeny tiny tags. So I'm not going to throw that away. I'm going to turn this into teeny tiny tags. I'll make that 2. There's 2 teeny tiny tags. And I'll make that one 2 that are actually a little bit bigger. I'll just scoot that all over to the side. Okay, so these already have a marking on them because I traced my template, right? So all I need to do is take a pair of scissors. I like these little ones for this. And cut those corners. And boom, there's my tag. I can cut a hole in it, or I can leave it like this until I go to use it. And then decide what kind of hole or slot, or sometimes I don't want a hole at all. I want to staple my ribbon or my lace to the top. Sometimes I don't put anything on the top. And just decorate it and put it into a pocket or a tuck. Maybe there isn't room for something coming off at the top. Okay, so there are those. Now, what about the ones that don't have that little marking up there because I didn't trace them? Now all I've got is big rectangle pieces of paper, and I am the first to admit that I am the absolute worst at cutting those corners. I'll cut a corner and I'll bring it over here to the other side and hold it and cut that one too, and they're still not the same. I don't know what it is. So I'm going to quit worrying about that, and I'll take the easy way. So I take an old, a lot of you probably have these. I know Candy has like, are they acrylic or acetate, thick acetate? I think yours are acrylic, aren't they?
Plastic business cards, like.
Okay. So that's what this is.
Thing, you know, and they were getting rid of them, so I took them because they were no good anymore. But they're just that real thin plastic. They're not credit card thick, but you could use credit card old ones. And I just cut the angles that I like.
So I just took an old Hobby Lobby gift card. There's nothing on it, and there's the 4 corners are cut at 4 different angles. So I took a store-bought card that I liked, and I put it up here against that, and I cut the credit card, the gift card, at the same angle that one was. And then I found another, like this one that I'd cut. This one was a little deeper or larger cut, but I like that one, so I put it up there, and I cut the card on that one. I found 4 different tags, or made 4 different tags until I had some different things that I liked. And then I just, like Candy said, just cut the 4 corners in 4 different angles. So if I'm doing little tiny ones, I can put this up here and cut that corner off, and I just hold it. You can mark it with a pencil if you want, whatever's easier for you. I just do that and flip it around and cut the other side. And they're the same every time. But if I try to move one over to the other side and do it, I just can't do that. So then I'll come to this a little bit larger one and say, do I want just that teeny tiny, or do I maybe want just a little bit more of an angle, a longer cut, and I'll do this one. So for this size tag, I think that this is a good angle and length. So there we go, ready to go. Now, if I decided it's wider, I would like a deeper. I've got two that are deeper here. I can go to this one that's a little bit deeper than that one. And then I've got one here that's even deeper. So for really large cards, because sometimes we do great big ones. There we go. You can see the difference in the angle. You can see the difference in the size of all of those. I need to get a little farther out. So, whoops, nope, I don't need to stay there. So you can see that cameras, I've moved the camera, so it's a little bit different angle for me. So I'll try to pay attention to that. Okay, so that's how I do that. So I just keep this in my drawer right in front of me so I can grab it at any time. So now I just sit down with this stack and grab this card and just pop up whichever one I want. I think I want this one on this size. And super easy. So the other night, I watched 2 episodes of a show with Doug. And in that time, I cut up and cut corners off of over 100 tags. So really super easy. It's a great thing to do while you're watching TV or watching a movie with the hubs. I always like to feel like I'm accomplishing something, not just sitting there watching a movie. Besides, you know, always wanting to craft. So, hi, Gigi. Okay, so that is one way to create bases, substrates to work off of. Okay, so that substrate, and y'all know substrate just means whatever the base layer is that you are working on, that you are building on, that you're adding to. That is the substrate. So let me show you a few other options here. These are ones that I still consider base, card bases. I like to have card bases of all kinds. I'm going to show you a few, and then we're going to make a few together. But I consider these card bases because they're not complete, but they are prepped and ready for me to complete to use in a project. So here is a card base. It's black. This is just black cardstock. If you have black file folders or anything like that, I typically like to have on hand some, ooh, that's stuck on there. There we go. Some white, some kraft, some black, and some manila. Those are the ones I like to keep on hand because that will pretty much go with anything and everything that I'm going to do. And then, you know, now and then I get that odd file folder, like this one is red, or a piece of cardstock that would just make cool tags. I don't know what else I would use it for. So I'll do like that. Sometimes when I put the holes in them, I will put the hole rings. The other day, it might have been Saturday night, we made hole rings. I have this pack of Heidi Swap hole rings that I need to use up. So I'll use those. So I stuck those in here. I also have these. There's one that's already open. And these are, let's see, the first one that I pulled out had it on. Okay, you take this and you bend it in the middle and fold it over the top. And it's a hole protector, but it also is decorative. It's kind of a little vinyl thing. Now, I had already punched the hole in these tags when I wanted to put this on. So I cut it in the middle and I put it with this as the bottom and that as the swirly side or the scallop side as the top instead of folding it over the top. Because I had already done the hole and the hole was too low. So if I put that on, it wasn't going to be on the hole. Now, there's another one that I did, and it went right onto the hole. Maybe that was not here, because I used 4 of them just the other day. But that's another option. If you have something like that, that works too. But there are lots of ways to do that, and you don't have to have a whole cover, a whole protector. We don't always do that. So this I consider a card base. It's just a black base, and this is a piece of vellum. And so I've just made a vellum pocket. That's all I've done. And the vellum has black hearts on it. So it's been there and I've not been using it. It's been sitting in my scraps. And so I thought, well, that's perfect. So this is one of the things that I like to do on a lot of cards for bases, because it's there ready to go. I can still decorate this. I could still decorate on top of that. I can make cards or tags or whatever to go in here. So this is a base to build on. This is not a completed tag. And because vellum always shows the glue, and I know people have said if you use Braille art glue, it doesn't show through. I used Braille art glue on this and it showed through bad. So I just put this piece of trim because I knew I was going to need something there anyway. So I put the piece of black trim while I had it because I thought it was a good match. Okay. So
did you not press it out or something? Mine doesn't show through.
Really? I did. In fact, I put it on there and then I went back with my finger and
maybe because it's black. Now I have not used it on black.
Possible. Yeah. I went back with my finger and smoothed it out so it wouldn't be that hard rogue that came out of the tube. And then when I put it on, I pressed it out and it showed through bad. So I will try it on some other vellum, on just some clear vellum, maybe on manila or something, and see what happens there. Yeah. Hi, Judy. And I saw KK. Hi, KK. So there's a card base ready to go. And I love that this is already prepped probably at least 25% of the way. It's that much less that I have to do when I go to use it. Here's another one. This is a border, an edge punch that I had. And I had this scrap of black paper. And so I just did the edge punch all the way down the edge of that scrap and then cut off a piece to put here, which is a pocket. And this little tag was sitting there and the butterfly was sitting there. And I thought, oh, he'd be pretty, but he really needs something not just sitting on there. So I threw that on. So it's a base ready to go. It's not complete, but look how little it will take to do it. I can put other things in here. I need to decide what I do up here. I can decorate here, put something else on either of those, but there's a good start on a base. Here's another one. This is just a cool paper. It was black on one side and it's kind of metallic gray on the other side. And again, this is a scallop border punch. So I took the scraps from this paper and I just scalloped this. The scrap was about that big. I just scalloped the whole thing and then I cut it off long enough to go on there. I cut two. I turned one of them upside down. So the black one is just the back side of this. So that was all the same strip there. And then this is just velvet I had cut these tiny flowers just out of the scraps of that little velvet. And I thought, oh, well, that will go perfect there. And they've been sitting there forever. So let me just use those scraps. So that's, it's a base prepped and ready to go. Here's another one. Same thing. Part of that same strip of scraps. The one on the bottom is the same paper as this one. It's just flipped over. The back side is solid black. So that is good and ready to go. Good bases there. Border punches are really great. Here's another, if I put this under, maybe you can see. This is like a kraft color with a tiny white polka dot. And so I did a border punch down the side of that. It's got lots of little tiny holes. Maybe you'd see it better on white. I don't know. But that makes a nice base ready to go. So, you grab a tag and you need something quick and you just can't think of what to do with it. This base already has some form, so I just need to decorate this side. I could put something on this side, stick something in it. It's not going to require a lot to go forward. This one, I really liked this scrap of paper and I really liked the way it matched the craft, but it wasn't long enough. So I put a little border punch, just had a tiny scrap, very thin. I put it just inside because the straight edge of this just was not great. And I know it's not long enough, so I did not glue down this end right here, because when I come down here, I'm either going to put something right here, a flower that's going to cover that so you don't know that it doesn't go all the way down, or I'll put something across here. But I know when I go to decorate that and use it, I will want to do something on that corner. But I really wanted to use that piece of paper because I like the way the grunge of that kraft and pink matched with that.
They're all
So
loving your tags.
What?
They're all loving your tags.
Oh, thank you. And I'm just showing you how easy this is. These are literally scraps of paper that were in my scrap bin, and I grabbed 3 border punches and sat down and punched borders with these. Here is the exact same one on white instead of on kraft. Exact same paper, the exact same border. And they're just ready to go. And so this is a way for you to prep card bases super, super easy. Okay. So border punches. All you need is 1 border punch, and you can get a bunch of those out in no time flat. Then move some of these over so I don't lose it or cover it. We grab a drink here. Don't make me laugh.
Don't choke.
I'm not even going to talk to you while I'm drinking because I don't let me laugh and I'll choke. Oh, Marianne needs drinking lessons. Okay, let's get some of that out of the way. We've got some bases, so I'm going to move this paper trimmer out of the way. Probably don't need it. Okay, so there are some other ways to prep bases, and that is to cover the tags in different ways. So here are some that are, so I cut these out of a file folder the same way I did this. And you can see the difference on the angle of this, the edge, the corner here. So it's a smaller one, but it's a little wider, and I decided to do a little deeper angle. And then I just glued it down on a book page, and I looked over on this side to see what was going to show. I wanted the entire thing to be covered in book page. So that's why I put a smaller one on instead of a taller one that went all the way up. So I did several of those, and these are kind of small book pages. That's why I only got one on there. But it all depends on whether you want the writing going this way, or if you're okay with the writing going up and down. I could put some of those little guys. Some of the little guys would go right here, the tall, skinny ones. Like these would go perfectly right there, and even right there. But when I cut this out, I will keep these because these are perfect book page scraps to use for collaging. And collaging, so here's a kraft one. Okay, so book pages, let me get one thing at a time. Book pages is another way to have them covered. And then you can cut them out with your paper trimmer, or you can cut them out with your scissors. Sometimes people will just cut them out very loosely, not really nice and tight close here, just to have them cut out and ready to go. And then when they make them, decorate them, then they will get it in nice and close and get all the edges, trimmed up. That is completely up to you. But all these things that come off here are going to be great collaging pieces. Okay, so there's a good tag. And these are awesome because, and if you want to prep even more, make a bunch of these. And then while you're watching TV, sit down with a stack of these and your ink, and just sit down and do the edges of these. You can go through a ton of these while you're just watching one movie and think how much time you would save later not having to distress the edges when you go to use them. If you could just grab a tag, that takes so much time when you're making something and you're trying to hurry. Just distress the edges now, and then you don't have to deal with that later. Okay, so the book pages is one, and I do all of them on there. Black, white, kraft, manila. I really like the manila ones on there a lot. Okay, another option would be putting them on Braille paper. A lot of you have Braille paper because I've had it at the sale a couple of times, If you don't, I do still have Braille paper in stock, but I love Braille paper as a base because chances are whatever you use this for, whoever you give it to is not going to have seen a Braille paper tag before because not everybody has it. It's not super common, but it looks cool. It gives super great texture without you having to do anything. Glue it down and you've got amazing texture. I would cut these on the paper trimmer personally. Y'all know I'm much better with a paper trimmer than I am with the scissors, especially in trying to go straight. I can cut little tiny things or right up to the line and stop with a paper trimmer, but I cannot cut straight with scissors for the life of me. So as long as I have a paper trimmer, I won't worry about that. Okay, and then these pieces of Braille paper are great for collaging later too because they add cool texture to whatever you are collaging. And let's cut those two in half. There we go. And now we suddenly have two Braille page tag bases. And you can see a slight different color to them, even though it's the same page, because one is on kraft and one is on manila. But you can also take your distress ink and distress these. I definitely would. It gives a really cool look because the Braille paper is not the same as all your other paper. So it adds a really cool vintage look to it. It takes that distress really, really well. So Braille paper is another excellent choice for that. So let's move the Braille paper over, put that one up there, put that right there. Another one of my favorites is just plopping them down on music paper. And I would take this and now obviously I didn't even finish this page because I've got two there. Then I would go find some smaller ones and even smaller than that so that, because I like to have music on the whole thing, there we go. That would be perfect. I could put that. Actually, I have to look at the other side because it's the other side that's going to be showing. So I could put these down. And I could get a third one there. And then I've got some cut off, offcut music paper here that I can use for collaging. Okay, so music paper is another great option. And it's really nice when you want a tag to pull up that little container that you have and a shoebox. I have a shoebox full, and that's what I forgot to grab and bring out here. But the shoebox has lots that are already prepped with music paper, book paper, collage, and there's a couple of different kinds of things there that I'm going to go through with you. But when you want a book or when you want a tag, to be able to just flip through that shoebox that you have and have so many options to say what's going to work with this project. You know, do I want music paper? Nope, not going to work. Do I want book page? Nope. This is a really, mixed media, textured. Oh, then I want Braille paper. That would look really cool with it. And just to have those choices. Or this is a more streamlined, clean-lined project. I'd like something a little more elegant and grab one of those black ones, the black and silver, things like that. I like to have all of them. I like everything from the real grungy, dirty, messy to the fine line, neat, clean, organized lines. I like it all. So I'm not going to pigeonhole myself into only being able to make one thing or the other. And so if I have tag bases prepped of all different types, then there's always something ready to grab. And how cool is that? When you go do that, again, I would sit down with this whole stack. I would just take that whole little shoebox out with me to watching TV and just sit down and ink the edges. That's going to save you tons and tons of time. But that is totally ready to go. You can add tags to it to hang down. You can add pockets. You could add any kind of embellishments that you want. You could even do one of these other kinds of things that we did. Okay, where did I even set them? You could add one of these kinds of things in a solid color or in book page over the music page.
They're asking how heavy is the Braille paper?
Not at all.
Yeah, it's heavier than copy paper, but it's not.
It's not cardstock. Look at this. This is
not cardstock, but it's
not. No.
Probably a little heavier.
Thicker than what, I don't even know what normal copy paper is. It is a little thicker than normal copy paper.
20, something like that.
Okay, here is a manila folder. You know how thick that is. The Braille is half of that. So putting them together, look how flexible it still is, a manila folder and the Braille. Yeah, if you want a thick cardstock, then you need to mount this onto something. Add it to something to make it thicker, because it's a little bit stronger paper, but it's not a thick, heavy paper at all. But it sure makes a cool card base. The Braille and the music and the book page.
And brown packing paper makes good.
Brown packing paper, yes, makes great. And that's also really good for collaging. Okay, so let's talk about, and if you've got large book pages, those are great for the larger tags. You can usually get more of them on there. You've got some small book pages.
Don't ask, do you always use this substrate if you're going to use cardstock for your tag? Not always. I mean, if your paper's thick enough, you don't have to.
Okay, whatever is the bottom layer, that is your substrate. So this kraft right here is only cardstock. Yeah, so I am building that card. I cut the tag out of the cardstock, and so the cardstock is my tag. And then I want to start building a tag on it that I like the looks of. And so I put that. It's still super thin and flexible because it's just a thin book page. But yeah, the substrate is the term substrate merely means the bottom layer. The thing that anything else is put on. So if I took this music paper, and as thin as it is, if I cut out a tag, and then I started building on top of that, and I put a layer of cardstock and a layer of vellum and a layer of whatever, and the back of it, you could still see the music paper because that's the bottom page. This music paper is then the substrate. Substrate just means whatever you put down first to build upon. Does that make sense? So now you will hear, so now these card bases already have something on them. The cardstock, the file folder, that was the substrate when I started putting stuff on here. But now I could grab this, and now I'm going to make a tag. And now this becomes my substrate to make the tag. So now this is the first thing that I'm putting down to build a tag. So substrate's kind of a weird word. And I just wanted you to understand the meaning of it, because sometimes people talk about it as if it's a very specific thing, and it's not. It is, substrate is whatever is the very bottom layer of whatever you're building. So the kraft was once the substrate, and I built this on top of it. Now, 2 days later, a year later, I take this to build a tag on. This is now my substrate, and I'm adding onto that. Does that make sense? It's just a weird word. Just a weird word. Okay, so also, if you have books that have cool things in them, like this has some old writing exercises, a Western Union thing. Here's some tables for computing tolls for telegrams and day letters, night letters, things like that. These are great pages to put onto your substrate, onto your manila folder, or your, whatever you're using, the cardstock, because they look really cool too. And that gives you, especially if you're going to do vintage or grungy type tags, that makes a really nice base. So books like that is sometimes even pictures, maybe not pictures if you don't want. This is one I picked up at a garage sale. Obviously she was crafty, because look, she's folded some of these pages into things that we do in altered books. So, okay. So let's take a few minutes and talk about collaging tags, because that is something that I find often.
That Braille paper left for sale.
I do still have a lot of.
Mary, yeah, just messenger Marianne,
Yeah,
and she can get you.
absolutely.
And I'm telling you, her prices are better than you can find on Etsy.
Well, that's my goal.
And to start with, you might not want to. I don't know about other. I have not had any luck finding any around here where I'm
Braille
at.
paper?
Yeah, in the thrift stores and the the I haven't found any. So
no, I've never seen it at a thrift store. But let me show you this.
Yeah.
This when I sell it, you get the page that I used for that was the other half of this. This is 10 by 10, and it was connected to another 10 by 10. That's a folio. And then there's a second folio. That's what this is. So this is 10 by 25. This is just how it came out of the book. And then there's a third one. So when I sell it, you'll get 3 complete folios, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 10 by 10 pages. I sell that for $7.50. And I know somebody who sells that same folio. This came out of the book as a signature. So I sell a signature for $7.50. I know somebody who sells that signature for $30.
Yeah, it can get expensive on some places.
Just blows my mind.
I mean, I'm just saying, you got to be careful with the prices, though, because they are outrageous with the Braille paper on some of them.
You do. And Braille paper is hard to come by, and so people take advantage of that and sell it for crazy prices.
We don't hoard stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I want to get it. Okay, I look for the things that I can get that I want to use, and then I try to get enough that I've got enough for happy paper people, and pass it on for a really good price. And I don't want you to feel like I spent $30 on that. I have to hoard it. I want you to use it and enjoy it. It's cool paper. Did you know how we print? We print on both sides of our page, right? We print here, turn the page, we print there. Did you know that they do the same on Braille paper?
Oh, I didn't. On our internship, we had Braille paper.
Oh, cool. Wow. So they print on this side. You see all the raised bumps, but then you see some that are divots. So when you turn the paper over, there are bumps on this side. They actually print on both sides of the paper. I didn't know that until I got this and disassembled all these books. And I thought that was kind of cool. And most people I've talked to didn't know that either. How would we know? Why would we know? Okay, before we go on to collaging.
Folders, Julie, I've not seen those.
What is it?
Braille embossing folder, not seen those. Not say they're not there. You might find them if you search. I have not seen
those either.
Margaret said she's a craft curator. That's her story.
Yes, I'm a craft curator too. I'm always curating things for us.
Yeah, making us spend our money.
Which reminds me, Candy, when you have a second, would you go grab the link to the business page? So Happy Paper People is a private Facebook group, and we want to keep it private. We keep weirdos out, and we invite other like-minded people in. But we have a business page that is a public page, and every now and then we've done different things on the business page. But we are not going to have a live sale like we have had during May and June, because they fall. Our fourth week falls over a holiday weekend and a week that I'm going to be gone and different things like that. So instead, I'm going to start posting things on the business page. Like some of you were here when we did that last October, just for the month of October. I'm going to start doing it like that. And so you can just comment on that post to claim something that you want, and posts will stay up until if there's still some available. So if it's still there and it does not say sold out, then there's still some available. You can comment on it. Once it's sold out, I'll go into the description up at the top, and the very first thing I'll put in cap letters, sold out, just so you know right away. But I think we're going to try to do that for May and June and see how that goes. And I'll do it like we did in October, because a lot of people told me they really liked the the idea of paying for the one or two things they bought that day instead of waiting to have a large bill. So each day at the end of the day, I see the camera trying to focus, going back and forth. Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird. So each day at the end of the day, I just would go pull all the things that were claimed that day and then send a request for payment right there. It might be for $5, it might be for 15, whatever, however many things that you claimed that day, just send a request each day. So a lot of people said it's just much easier to do the $5 or $10 or whenever there is something rather than wait and add it all up. And then there will be a box for everybody that has purchased something. That item will then just go straight into your box. And when the box is full or at the end of the month, that's when I will ship them out. But just like our regular sales, if your box isn't full, I will hold it until it's full, unless you say, I really need that right away. Can you send that? Because it's for something specific. Absolutely. I'll send it. I always try to get it to you, as soon as you need it. So watch for that, and she'll put that link, Candy will put that link in the group. And so if you haven't gone in and liked that page and followed that page, but here's the most important part. On that business page, which is called Happy Paper People as well, so don't let it confuse you. When you look at it, like the logo thing is in black and white, where it's in color in the Facebook group. So the black and white one is the business page. When you go in there and like and follow it, you need to go into the settings, click on the 3 bars or the 3 dots, whatever you have there, and make sure that you are set to get notified every time there's a post. Okay, nobody can post in there except Candy or I. And so if there's a post, then you'll want to know, because that means something new is listed up there. That's not something we use to show pictures of what we made or, those kinds of things in general. That's all done within the group. So you want to make sure that your notifications are set to get notified, because things will be posted as I can get pictures and as I can get them posted. So there might be a whole bunch of things go up, one every 5 minutes for an hour. And then there might be not something for the next day. It depends how fast I can get things. The most difficult part of that is getting decent pictures so that you can see them and getting them up quickly. And I just make sure that you can see the picture adequately. I think it's more important to get it out there to you than to, try to make sure that the picture is absolutely the very best. But this is just a sample of the, like this one. This was the paper. I just took this. It was kind of a big scrap, not a full page, but I just went all the way around the outside. And so then I just cut off a section of it and put it on this one and cut off a section and put it on the kraft one. And so I still have some left that I could do. I could cut small ones and do it on little tiny ones, little tiny tags. And then here is one. This is the opposite of that one. It's white with the little kraft colored polka dots, but this is just a border that I punched around it. So that's ready to go, just to add on. And this is the same as this one, the border punch. That's what this one is. So any border punch you have will work. Just turn it around that way. And when I get to this end, and there's little pieces that are torn off or cut off right there, I'll just put something over it. It won't matter. It won't matter. Okay, so before we move on to collaging, there is one more that I really like to do, and that is with tissue paper. Now, this is a tissue paper that I really like. It's got the postage, the letters, the, what are they, postcards, all those kinds of things. And so that makes a really nice background. And it's super thin, so it's not adding much of anything to anything. Of course, none of these papers are adding much. They're not adding any bulk. It's not getting thick at all until you do multiple layers, because all these things are thin. So I took this, that's why it's kind of all cut up there, and I turned it over like that. And I used some collage gel, but you can use you could use tacky glue or use Mod Podge or whatever you like. Now, because this is tissue paper and can tear easily, I would suggest that you put your medium on your tag. Rub it all over your tag, and then take the tag and lay the tag down on here and press it down really well. You can rub it around as much as you want on the tag to straighten it out, and that's great. But if you're rubbing on the tissue paper side when it's wet, because there is any kind of glue medium underneath it, it's going to tear. It's just going to pull up and tear. I can rub it right now because it's dry, but if it's wet, trust me, it's just going to rip. So I did that, and I laid down some manila and some kraft on the other half of this piece of paper here. And then what I did was just pick it up, and I tore them apart. So they are ready to be cut. I'll put them on my paper trimmer because, I trust myself more with the paper trimmer than the scissors. But just trim those up. Now I'm going to save this because this is awesome for collage. Love this kind of stuff. But I did something else with these. I collaged them down, and then I went over the top of them with this distress collage medium in vintage. This is a Tim Holtz in vintage. And so you can see how I'm going to collage one down now just without that so that you can see the difference, but you can see how it looks kind of brown or vintagey on top. That's because of that medium that's on top of it. So I'm going to put one or two down that don't have that on. There, you can see when it dries, there's some little pieces of it there that didn't get rubbed off. And it's just kind of a like an aged photo kind of look. Vintage photo. Okay, there's this small one. That looks kind of cool. So I'm going to put one collage one down because you can see. Here we go. Let me show you this. If I put a manila folder behind this, see how light it still is? And then when I put that vintage distress medium over the top of it, look what it did to the color. So these are the same tags, same manila file folder, the same tissue paper. It's just that medium that's over the top. So you don't have to go buy that. You don't have to use that. Another way to get that look, if you like it, is wait until it completely dries and then take your distress ink or your distress oxide and go all over the tag. And you can get that look by running all over the tag. Okay, or you can use other colors. You could mix it with something that like orange blossom, but I think that's not a distress, but it gives it a rusty color. But you could mix it with something that's a rusty color or a patina color and get some different shades that look pretty cool. So let me just cut this one so that there's one that actually looks like a tag.
Oh, Karen says she knows you're in Utah on the Facebook page. She says she grew up in PG.
Pleasant Grove. Nice. I am in West Jordan. Not too far. That is less than 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes from me. Straight shot down the freeway. That's awesome. Do you ever come back to visit, Karen? And if you do, you got to let me know when you hit Utah. Any of you come to Utah, you got to let me know. Definitely love to meet any Happy Paper people that are traveling through. Okay, so I will do a couple of these. Yeah, that's not very far at all. That's a very nice community too, by the way.
They're asking where you got that tissue paper. Is that the Tim Holtz tissue paper?
It is not, and I cannot remember where I got it. I've had it for a long time. I got to try to remember because I'd like to get more for you guys because it is one of those that I've loved. A lot of times I'll get one of something if I find a source just to try it out and see if I like it before I invest in a ton for everybody else. Because if it's not that great, I'm not going to get it for you. So I'm going to try to figure out where I got it and see if I can't get some more because I really like it a lot. I won't save these little guys, but I will save this. This is good enough for collage. Okay, so let me move.
Collage paper, tissue paper that's like that.
Yeah, that's true.
For writing on it stuff. So I mean, it's out there.
Okay, so
Amazon.
Okay, so let's do this. Like I said, you can use any of those things. You can, I have a whole jar of tacky glue that's just watered down, and I use that for collaging. I use a lot of different things for collaging. I really do like the Stamperia collage gel. It dries really nicely. Glue stick, whatever you like. It doesn't matter. It all works. Really, seriously, it all works. Don't let somebody tell you have to use one particular thing for gluing or for collaging or anything, because they all work. Okay, so I'm going to get this up here right on the edge. I got it on the back too. I did bring baby wipes out here. Knew I was going to need them. I think I flung some collage gel before I even got started.
Laura says she bought some Stamperia glue from Mariana and cannot remember what she's going to use it for. I bought the gilding glue because it doesn't dry as fast to do the.
Oh yeah, we're going to do a Monday jump start.
I have so much other glue that.
We're going to do a Monday jump start on the gilding flakes, the gold and silver flakes. And there's a rice paper glue too that I just pulled out that I'm going to try on the rice paper that's supposed to be specific for rice paper, and I'm not sure. Whoops. See, okay, this is what happens when you wipe over this when it's wet. It suddenly becomes like toilet tissue. So I wiped right over the top of it with this baby wipe, and I shouldn't have done that.
That's what I like to use.
So I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I was wiping the back to get the glue off. So I just wiped that off, so that one area won't have any on, and that's okay. That's totally okay, because it's like it's collaged anyway. We'll set that aside to dry, and then we can look at it and compare it to these that are vintage.
Glue stick for tissue paper. It's much easier. It doesn't make it wet.
Oh, right. Do you put it right on the tissue paper, or do you put it on the thing that you're putting the tissue paper on?
Substrate, because it's just easier for me to put it there, and then I can use a ruler.
Any of those things, anything that is going to grab and wipe across tissue paper has a really good chance of hearing it.
Not wipe.
Hearing it. Okay. So I want to show you a couple of different options for collaging, because you can collage a whole large piece, and this is what I frequently do. Even something like this, I'll just open up this big folder into as big a pieces as I can, set it out, collage the whole thing, and then cut it up. And then each one of those is a card base ready to go. Or you can cut a bunch of bases like this from all the things that you have, and then you can collage each one of them. I'm going to collage this side so I can cover up that word. But there are a couple of different ways. Oh, I didn't bring a paper. What am I thinking? A ruler, a tear ruler out with me. That's okay. I will grab this. Just going to demonstrate a couple of ways for you so that you can see a couple of things. There are lots of different ways to collage. And let's see, like that. I'm going to use this one right here. You get one look if you use the page with the borders. You get another look if you use just the words. And I kind of like the look with just the words, because then the whole thing is covered. But it's not in large pieces. So I will cut it like where the paragraph is, which even gets rid of the little white line or empty line between the paragraph. And you don't even have to be exact on these. Okay, and let's see, we can get a little bit of music paper here. Again, I'm just cutting the borders off, and I'm going to, that one was torn on the end, so, but I don't want these all the same size. All right, we'll see. Might have to cut another one. So I can take this and I can take these book pages and I can start building like this. So I'm going to put the adhesive down on my substrate. That is my tag form that I am making a tag base out of. It's a tag base, but I'm using it as a form because I'm building a different tag base. I'm adding to it to make a tag base that I want. And I'm going to put this right up to the edge, and I'd rather go a little bit over because I can trim a little bit over than a little bit inside because I don't really want to see the edge, and I don't want to have to trim the tag down if I don't have to. Okay, and I'm going to overlap. Totally okay, let the papers overlap. Let's see. Let's get that all the way up to the top. Most things that are specifically for collaging will give you a few seconds before it dries so that you have time to move it a bit. Okay, any place it's overlapped, there's not going to be any glue because I only put glue down on the tag itself. Okay, and let's get which direction? This is the direction. Okay. Not like that. We'll go like that. Okay, there's not going to be any.
No, Marianne does in the bottom in your comment section of your video, below the video, if you have the drop down menu, you can see more comments. She does always put in there the Facebook group, the Facebook page, Patreon account, her Etsy, Instagram, and Twitter links. They're always at the bottom of the videos, ladies. So
in the description box. Yep, they're always in the description box. Thank you, Candy.
Drop down.
So the Etsy shop has been on vacation, and I'm in the process of getting it reloaded with different stuff. And so the Etsy shop will be open again really soon. I'm going to do this one all the way across. Okay, and there won't be any glue under that. So let me add just a bit.
Yes, and thumbs up, ladies, if you haven't already done so.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for remembering. Okay, so here we go. Okay, now I'm going to let this completely dry before I turn it over, and I'll trim right around the tag, the corners, and down that side. But I'm going to let it dry because I really hate glue in my scissors. And even worse is glue on your paper trimmer. Okay, so we'll let that dry, but there's a good card base that gives you some music and some book page together, one option. Okay, let's go to another option of collage. It has been so warm and dry around here. I'm hoping that'll dry really fast. Here's another option for collaging. I have this little container, and when I have little scraps like this that I just cut off, I will take this and just tear it like that and drop it in this container. And then I take this container with me when I'm watching TV, just like that. And I will sit down and just ink the edges of these little pieces because I like a lot of different types of collage. And one of the things that I do really like is having the edges of every one of my pieces distressed. And so I see that distress look already on there. I really do like that. Now let's stick everything to the glue. So let's first get some adhesive down on the card. So those of you who are new, Monday Jumpstart, I would invite you and encourage you to go back to January on YouTube and watch all the Monday Jumpstarts. We've had one every single Monday except January 10th, because I had surgery that day. But Monday Jumpstart is kind of a unique thing, and we use it for a jumpstart on the week. It's a way to look at things a little bit differently, to look at things that maybe we haven't been using. If you've got a bunch of stuff in your craft room and you haven't been using it or don't know how to use it or need new ideas, all those kinds of things, that's what Monday Jumpstart is all about. And I think we do that pretty darn good. We've done such a variety of things on Monday, and everybody has participated, and I love Monday Jumpstart. It's just a cool day with lots of people, lots of different things coming out of it. What do you think, Candy? You like Mondays?
I like Monday Jumpstart. I like Mondays, not really.
Yeah, don't like Mondays.
But they're still Mondays.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's actually how Monday Jumpstart came about. Is I thought there's so many people that really hate Monday. They don't look forward to it after the weekend, and it's just a horrible day Monday is. And I like Mondays. So I decided Monday Jumpstart is going to be something to look forward to, a good jump start to the week. So it's going to be a very positive thing for Monday instead of being horrible Monday. Let's see here.
Dawn got a new modem router, and it's made a world of difference. I'm happy.
Nice.
Now I'm really mad about the new one I got, because I've had more trouble with it than I did the old one.
Uh-oh. How have we been blurry-wise so far on this one?
It's not been as bad, but it still does that occasionally where it's trying to focus.
Where it's trying to focus. Okay, but not as bad. All right.
It's coming out. It's going in.
We're working on it. Oh, working on it. Okay, so let's get some of this up here. Yeah, I wanted Mondays to be a positive thing and not something that everybody hates looking forward to, but something that you can look forward to enjoy. I'd love to get that one underneath there, but too late for that one. Okay.
Anytime I spend with is fun, so.
Exactly. Anytime spent with this group is awesome. Those who are new, you probably belong to a lot of groups. We all do. But I am not in the least bit exaggerating when I tell you that this is and will be one of the most amazing groups you will ever come upon, because of the women in here, because of the people. We do have some men too, but this is a group. We keep it a private group because it is the original people that were in this group were handpicked and invited into the group. And then they continued to invite like-minded people. So we had amazing people to begin with, and they invite more amazing people. And the group has grown in that way, just with amazing people. And I love it. I love this group. You just can't find better people ever, anywhere. Looking for something. I'm not sure what it is, but something.
Margie says, we have men. Are they wearing kilts? Show us, please.
We do have a kilt man.
Dawn says the camera is better today. Yeah, it is. It's not staying
not 100%, but it's better than it has been. Is that what you're saying?
Doing that where it goes out for a second and then comes back.
Okay, but it's not as bad as it has been.
No, it's we got to get that autofocus turned off. I think that'll fix it.
Well, and I don't know why it's turned on, because it never has been before.
Yeah.
So just a weird thing. But I'm looking for something with words. And I'm going to cover part of that. Okay, so I want this to dry so I can show you how to finish this up, because this is one of my favorites. Now, some of them have music, some of them have words, some of them are plain. They are the borders of the book pages. which are great. They're still cool paper and they're still aged paper. But that's where something like this comes in really cool. It can go right over the top of one of these plain ones. Doesn't have to. I might not have put it on that otherwise, but I want to show you how it can, so I will. Okay. So now I want to let that completely dry, and then I'm going to trim it up, and then that will be a very cool base that is ready to go and can be used in any kind of vintage book. All right, so we'll set that one aside. Okay, we'll grab a drink. Now let's look at one more. Let's take another. These are always easy to see. I've been moving my hands around pretty fast, so it's been doing pretty well today.
Yeah, it's been doing much better just doing that.
Okay, just a little bit. All right. All right, so I am going to look in here. I've got two more specific things in mind. That'll probably work. Oh, I should put some. I'll do one with this. This paper is like 80 years old. Came out of somebody's basement. Look at the rust. It had a bucket sitting on it. I know. I don't have to ink that at all. It just falls apart. Okay, so actually, let's do that. I'm going to show you a couple of techniques. Yeah, this is so old. All right, let's get some collage gel on this tag. And I just have a piece of vinyl covering my table, so I don't even worry about a little bit of glue getting on it. And you'll notice between every tag, I take my baby wipe and just wipe the vinyl so it gets any off so that it's not there for the next tag to lay on. And we did have this vinyl at a sale, super cheap, because I got a great deal on it. I bought the entire roll because I knew everybody would want some or need some. And I do have vinyl left. So if you need vinyl or want a piece of vinyl that will go over, it's in, I want to say it's like 45 inches wide, maybe 36 or 45. And then we can just do it as long as we want. So if you need something like that to cover a table or an area, let me know. It's cheap. Okay. All right. So I'm going to just cut this. Now this paper is super cool by itself, just leaving it like this. But I'm going to show you another technique. Maybe I shouldn't do it over this. Maybe I should do it over something that doesn't look so cool, because it makes it look cool. Wow. Look at that. That is old newspaper. Very cool looking. I don't think I want to cover that. That is just too cool because that's so old. So I'm going to grab another one. I'm going to do one with a book page that's kind of white. So it's not old. It's not all that super, great. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to put a book page. Don't really even care where it goes on it. I just tried to make it not have a lot of border on it. I'll use the border elsewhere, as you've seen. We pick the whole thing up and clean the glue off the vinyl. I love how it just wipes up with baby wipe, so I don't have a gluey surface. Yeah, we use this outside over a picnic table or take it with us when we go somewhere, go camping. It's super thick vinyl. The roll, I couldn't even pick up the roll of vinyl. I still can't, even after everything that's been cut off it already. It is thick and the whole roll is super heavy. I have no idea how much was even on the whole roll that I bought. Let's see. Okay, so this is great. It's a book page on it. We can work with that. Yeah, we can ink the edges. We could even take our blending brush and we could ink over it. We could put some distressed collage medium over it and give it that aged look with the glue. But we can also use some tissue paper or pattern paper to get a very cool look. So we want to take our pattern paper and just crumple it up. The more wrinkles, the better. Why is it not holding the wrinkles? Yeah, we like the wrinkles. We like lots of wrinkles. Okay, and I'm going to tear it in half because I don't know that it's going to cover the whole thing. That way I have enough to come up into the other side too. All right, so now I need, I'll do it with the clear because most of you may not have this vintage, but I could do it with this vintage and add that look to it, but it works even without it. And I haven't always had that, and I don't always have it. And I got that in a pack of some kind, you know, the whole thing. It includes this, and this. I wouldn't have bought it on its own because quite honestly, I can do regular collage gel or glue or whatever. And then after it's dry, I go over it with Vintage Photo. Either take the whole ink pad and rub it over it or the blending brush and get the same kind of look. So don't feel like you need to go get that collage gel. You really don't. Okay, and now I'm going to put this on it, and I want it to have wrinkles. I want the wrinkles to be there. I don't want it to stick to my fingers, but I do want wrinkles. Get this side over here. Hardest part is just getting it down there without sticking to your fingers totally with wrinkles. Okay, and I'm going to need some glue or collage gel on top of it to make it lay down. Otherwise, it has lots of bubbles at first. Don't worry about that because as you put the glue on it, it's going to lay down. But all these wrinkles are very cool. And if it doesn't have enough wrinkles, I just pull this in here and try to wrinkle it up a little bit more. There we go. Got some more wrinkles there. Instead of trying to smooth it out, trying to create wrinkles, which is great because you don't have to worry about doing it perfectly. Wherever the wrinkles are, they are. And I want more wrinkles over here. I don't want that whole side to be smooth. Sticking to me. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, so I've covered the whole thing. Oh, it doesn't have enough wrinkles down here for me. I want more. So I'm going to pull it up a bit and just try to bring it in here and grab it with my spatula. Oh, these silicone spatulas, I forgot to bring them out at the last sale. So I will put them in the business group. I got a great deal on them. They are cheap. So if you've been wanting a spatula or another one or two, whatever, watch for those. I'll make that one of the first things that I put in because I know people had asked for that. I said I would have it at the next sale, and I did, and I forgot to bring them out. Totally forgot. It's because we had all that new Stamperia and Minte. Got so excited about that, I forgot to bring these out. But I got them. I do have them. They've been sitting here. Okay. All right. So that is going to need to completely dry. If you want more wrinkles, you can even tear off some of this excess down here and put it on top and form more wrinkles with it. Because as soon as you add glue to hold it down, you won't be able to tell that it's another layer. It's just wrinkles. Okay? You can't tell the edges there, that they are layers. So I'm going to let this completely dry, and then I will trim around the outside of that. And this is pretty thin because this manila folder, some manila folders are thinner than others, I've noticed. But this is a pretty thin one, which is okay. That gives me lots of room to put stuff on top of it and have it not get too super thick. I'm just adding a little bit here and there where I see that it could use it. Okay. And that will be cool to decorate with. You see the book page through the tissue. In pattern paper, you can pick up patterns cheap. Usually at thrift stores, they're anywhere from 25 cents to $1, depending on the thrift store. But that's a really good option for a base, tag base. Okay, so let me set that aside before I rip that right off. I love this one. I still really like that one. Okay, I'll put it over there to dry. Now we've got this one that is drying really nicely. The inside isn't completely dry, but it looks like the outside edges are. So I'm going to trim this up. This is our music and book page collage. So there we go. And I probably won't put a hole in that. I'll wait until I go to use it, because depending on what I use it for, I might want to just fold something and staple it on top. I might want a slot hole so that I can put a thicker ribbon through it. Gives a cool look. Got a little bit to trim up down here.
Or no hole.
Or no hole at all. Yeah, if I staple something on, or even decorating it and not stapling anything on, it doesn't always have to have something coming out of the top, you know. Okay, and this one is still quite wet, so we're going to give that a little bit longer. Okay, so the other one, that is collage, would be, let's see if there's any of these that are already inked, so I don't have to, ink them. I'm looking for, these are like book end papers or the beginning of a chapter when there's only writing on half of the page. I like the other half of the page because a lot of times the type of paper that the book is on is really cool. And I like those. And so I ink around those as well. And so that's what I'm looking for here is a few more. I've got some of this is grid paper or graph paper, which doesn't have any writing on it, but it's also inked around. I might need just a couple more. Let's see if they're already inked, I won't have to do it now. If they're not, I will do it right now. Let's see. That's all I can see in there that are already inked. So I'm going to grab this, and I'm just going to do this. And this paper's kind of fragile. It's an old book, but I don't care if it kind of tears up the edges because that just makes it look older and cooler. Some of these edges are going to get overlapped, but I don't know which ones. So I'm going to turn that writing over. Oh, that's kind of a cool saying. I'll wait and see if I really need that one. If not, I can turn it over and use just the white on the back or cream or whatever it is. Okay, so this might be enough to do this. Let's try this. Let's see. Let's see if it is. Yeah. No. Okay, like that, and like that. Now, there are, I was going to show you this on a larger piece of paper, which is not today, because today isn't today's tags, but a lot of times we talk about collaging, and there's a lot of different things about collaging. And so I want to do a day on collaging because when I first started, I heard a lot of people say, okay, I sat down and collaged and I just slapped these things on, wherever. I just grabbed these things and slapped them down. And I'm like, how do they come up with, something that looks so great when they just grab things and slapped them down? Well, collage doesn't mean, the definition of collage isn't that you just grab things and slap whatever down wherever. Collage means that you're taking pieces of things and bringing them together, right? So who says that those things that you bring together can't be purposefully placed? It's still a collage. So you can take a whole piece of paper, or you can take a little tag like this, and you can purposefully place things for a collage. It doesn't have to be random, like I grabbed the next piece that was there and laid it down. It doesn't have to be that. Now I have to just remember where I put them. But collage just means, that those things all came together. So I put these down just to see if it would look how I wanted it to look. And then when it does, I can put glue on it. If I was doing a whole piece of paper, I'm going to pick them up one by one, starting from outside going in, and collage them down, or glue them down so that I can get the same look that I had when I designed it. I mean, who says you can't design a collage just like you design anything else? I always felt like, collage has to be just random. That means I just grab things and put them down. Well, then it turns out ugly. I don't like it. But I don't think that that's true. And as I've watched some people who specialize in collage, I now can say I know it's not true. That you can design your collage. It does not have to be random. It is still a collage. Okay, so here's my collage. Now, I don't have the hair dryer out here, so let's hope this one dries quickly. I'm not putting a lot on top, hoping that it will dry quickly. Okay, and so that I can then cut this up. But we'll give that a minute over here. I should tie it to Lucy and let her go run around the backyard once or twice. The air blowing through it, it'll dry real fast. We have a garden plot that's right in the middle of the yard. It's like a little mound, and she runs laps around it like it's a racetrack. It's hilarious. Okay, I should have done that first so that it would have had time to dry, huh? That would have been smart. All right, any questions so far or thoughts that you guys have had? We're just kind of hitting the surface of tag bases today. And if you would like, we could do a part 2 that is about then taking those bases and decorating them or getting them ready to use. Sometimes that's hard until you know what they're going to be used for. But if you know that you do a lot of vintage or a lot of botanical or things like that, then it's easier because you can say, I know I can always make vintage tags or botanical tags, and they're going to go in some of my projects because that's what I do.
Or you can be lazy like me and you can get tags online at the Etsy store. And Party and Love Junk Journals has a tag fabrication kit. They did 2 parts of it, and they make great layered tags. So you can they go together, but they're different. Mm-hmm. You can add to them or leave them as is.
Another great way to make tags is to cut up and make tag bases. Is to cut up anything that is going to be your substrate base here, and then take offcuts of digital downloads that you have used, or offcuts of different scrapbook papers that you've used to make something. Maybe you made some cards. You have offcuts from those cards or a journal or whatever it is, and put those pieces of paper on here as a base. Those are always really pretty. Digital download.
Okay, and just you can use it over and over again. So
yeah. And if you don't like it, you just glue something on top of it.
And the way you decorate the digital downloads makes them different every time too.
Hi, Sylvia. I didn't even see you come in. You've probably been here for a while. I forgot my coffee stain
yeah.
over there. Ooh! They're crispy now. Well, if you go to bend them and they just fall apart, they will make great collage. Crispy looks good.
Crispy sounds good too.
Crispy sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right. So let's see. I'm going to give this a little wave in the air. I don't think I got any glue under there. I don't want to add it now. I can add it later because I still want to show you the next step. But I can't do that until this is dry. So I'm going to give it a little wave, wave, wave.
So we're going to put a little glycerin on them lightly. Does that work?
Glycerin on these for what?
No, on her overcooked paper.
Oh, okay. Yeah, to give it a little bit of moisture, to let it absorb a little moisture.
Huh.
Yeah, that'll probably work.
I have rose water. I wonder if you could squirt that on there.
You have what?
Rose water. Have you ever had that?
Oh, yeah. I don't think it'll work.
You can mix it with glycerin.
But yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. Does it have a nice little scent to it?
Yeah, it's faint.
So
yeah, I had a recipe to clean your ink pads with.
Oh.
Used glycerin, rose water, and something else. I can't remember. I have it written down somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I made a batch of it. I like it. It smells good.
Yeah, that's cool. So what do you do with little tags like this?
I put pretty digitals over them.
Yes. Pretty scraps go over them really nicely. I have packs of little tags like this that were store-bought, and they were that size on purpose. So yeah, definitely. Here's some stamps of some botanicals. Let me grab. Maybe I see if I can. This stamp pad might be a little dry. We'll see if it's a little dry. Oh, no. Wow, look at that. Look how cool that is. Cute little tag. Ink around the edge. Put something on. Don't put something on. Take a colored pencil. Just color the tops of the flowers. The 2 tulip heads. Wouldn't that be a cute little tag? Yeah, but all those little corners and ends of the file folder, I just cut them into little tiny tags and use them for exactly that. Let's see. I think that went up to here. Nope, that's about as far as I inked. Okay. I really like this orange blossom. It's archival, Ranger Archival Orange Blossom, because it stamps, it looks like rust. And I really like that. I did some that had tissue paper on them, and the tissue paper didn't have a bunch of design. It was kind of clear. Oh, no, you know what it was? It was the second and third layer of the napkins. You guys are always wondering what to do with those layers of the napkins that don't have the design on them. They're just white. So they're kind of clear, see-through. Perfect. You take any stamp pad that you have, any ink pad. I like that rusty one, or black ones work great, or the vintage photo. Take any stamp pads that you have. And so here's some botanical ones. Great backgrounds. This is the one. See, it's still got, you can tell I didn't clean it off. It's still got that orange blossom on it that looks rusty. It's cool. And that turned out so really cool on that napkin base. And let's see. Get a little tiny one like this guy. I could go over here and look at that. There's a little stamp right there. That's the exact right size. And it's like out of the dictionary with a botanical and some things written. Or I could come over here and get this thing right here with the moth and the things that are written about that. Even that number, I could get that in too. Here's another one with a bird. So, and you don't have to use the whole stamp. This one here, I just inked it up. I didn't know how far it would go, stamped it on as far as it did go. It doesn't even matter where it ends. That's what makes it look cool. Could do it with any end. I could do that on a long strip of leftover and then just cut the strip into pieces the sizes you want. But I would cut it first and then just randomly stamp it, because if you stamp it first, you'll find yourself trying to cut it at certain places to make good stamps or good tags, and that is much harder to do, and it just ends up weird. So cut them first and then just stamp them randomly. This is still really sticky, so I don't want to do anything on that. But I'm going to grab this. This is a good base. These haven't been completely cut. It was cut up, but they're not, like the edges haven't been done. So see if that's even straight. It is now. Okay. Okay, so I could choose that I'm going to do it on this side or I'm going to do it on this side. If I want to leave this one free for writing on, or if I want to put coffee dyed paper maybe on this side for writing on. I can see that that end is not straight. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do on this, but this is still wet and gooey, so I don't want to do it. Once I trim it up, and so say it looks like this, thing is, I'll do it on this. It's just not quite the same without all those collaged pieces that have the inked edges, because that's what gives it a really cool look. But I'm going to make sure that I've got my tag form, right? So there's my tag form. And I'm going to pick a stamp, a background stamp. And I'm going to pick a long one, a big one, because this is a long tag. Actually, that's a cool one, and it's already got orange blossom on it. So now I just have to, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do two side by side, because that'll be just about the right size. That one's even wider. Instead of stamping one at a time, I will stamp two. That's straight enough. All right, now I can just use this one as my form. I don't even need to grab the card because it's right here and it's nice and sturdy. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put these two side by side. They're not exactly the same size. Doesn't matter. This almost, not quite, covers. It's more than plenty tall, but it's not quite wide enough to cover them both. It's almost wide enough to cover those two. I want it to cover both of them, so I may be messing myself up. I don't want to line down the middle of it. Okay, so I just need to decide, because this will go on about half of it. Do I care where it goes, or am I just going to do it on this half, and then I'll do this next one on the other half? I can do that because there's two of them. So I'm just going to turn it over. I don't even use an acrylic block. That's huge. So I'm going to ink it up, and I'm using that Orange Blossom Archival, which looks like rust when it comes out. Once it's stamped, it looks like rust. I love this one. I might have to get an ink refill for this one. Okay, that should be good. And now I'm going to, actually, I'm just going to try it this way, because I don't want to stamp on the vinyl. I want to save that ink for this side. So I'm going to go close to the edge, but not quite. I'm going to press it down, hold it in place so it doesn't move around, little easier with this being a thicker tag. Make sure I get the corners and all 4 sides. Okay, and then I will pick it up. Maybe I will pick it up. There we go. Isn't that cool?
Yep.
And all that is the inside, the manila side of that folder. Okay, so I know that this one's going to go a little bit over half. So I know that right down the middle is going to need a little more ink. Oops, just inked on the little guy. Okay, and I'm going to go to the other side and press that down. Make sure I get all the corners, down all the sides. And I'll probably just put some coffee dyed paper on the back for writing on the tags. I like writing spots everywhere. All the corners, all the sides, down the middle, good to go. Lift it up. There we go. So there's some overlap right there, the center of the circle. But they're different, 2 different looking tags. Aren't they cool? I know, I love this. And you can do that with any of these large bases. Let's move that one over. And let's grab, this is a good one. This is the Sir Vagabond, the Traveler News. Let's do this one in patina. Put the lid back on those. Here's patina. We'll just grab 2 of these. Get a blank one. Okay. You can really use anything to make a tag base. This is going to be a nice big one. Okay, and then I can just use one of these to cut my corners. There's 1, and there's 2. Okay, so I got those 2. All right, so I'm going to ink it up. Oh, this patina is going to be cool. And remember, it's just a base, so you're going to put things over it. But it's cool to have that peeking through whatever you put over it, whatever you decorate it with.
Margie said if she gets another kitty, she's going to name it Patina. Sounds like a girl.
Oh, I love that. How cute. What a cute name. That is adorable. Okay. That would be a cute name, Patina. Aw.
Oh, that kitten my son sent me and asked me if I wanted it.
Yes.
He got it.
Oh.
They're calling her Nala. They're calling her Nala.
Oh. How cute.
Tiny, tiny.
So I'm getting patina on my fingers and rubbing it on the back, which is okay because I'll cover it in coffee dyed paper. But, oh, they're so cute when they're tiny. So tiny. Look at that. How cool is that? Okay, and then let's go right down the middle for that part that's overlapped. Take this one. Oop, this is the wider one, so make sure I went over far enough. I'm sure I did. Yeah, these great big background stamps are awesome. Even these small ones like this work exactly the same. And, you know, half the tags are this size or smaller. So they're perfect. And that gives a floral background with writing, so it gives you the vintage look and botanical. There we go.
That's from the Traveler one. That's from the Sir Vagabond stamp set.
The Traveler News is a Sir Vagabond. Pretty sure I have it. So there's Sir Vagabond right there. There he is with his wings. Those are cool. I mean, how easy is that? All he did was cut a file and stamp it, and it looks like a whole layer of stuff put on it. It does not look like it's stamped because I used the patina or the rust, something like that. It doesn't look just like a stamp. It looks like it was printed on it and starting to age.
And it looks really good, ladies, if you put like if you use a stamp block where you can put it over the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you put one color down, like put the orange down.
Then put another color.
Put your blue on top of it and just move it just like a hair.
Yeah. So you get that shadow effect.
And you have to use a.
So she's saying you need to use like the
press or your Tim Holtz stamp thing.
Yeah.
You can
make it. What's the pink one?
The Misty.
The Misty. Yeah, like a Misty or Tim Holtz or We Are Memory Keepers. Everybody has one where you can put the stamp on that acrylic piece and it stays the same place, and you can put these in the corner. And yeah, she's right. So if I did that
here, and it just gives it a shadow. It gives it a shadow.
Yeah, I would fill it up with vintage photo and go back over this with vintage photo, and that would look really cool. It would also look cool putting these two colors together, the rest of the patina.
I put the orange down first and then put the patina on top. That's what I want. I want only patina. And just do a light coat of the orange. You don't want it real dark.
Nope. Yeah, just very lightly, and those two colors are really cool together. So you can ink around the edge of it with vintage photo, or I could take the rust, that orange blossom, and ink around the edge of these patina ones. They would look real good. I'm sorry, I'm holding that too high and it's not all on screen. Apologize for that. Yeah, so that, very cool. So here's the pattern paper that is drying. It's going to take a little longer to dry because all the wrinkles are globs of paper, and so they're going to have to dry all the way through. And it's going to wrinkle up, curl up as I do it. I'm not worried about that at all. When you're done, you can press it out either with an iron, or you can press it just by putting it under a heavy book or two or small stack for overnight. It'll be just fine. It's still, fairly thin and will lay out really nicely. The other thing that I was going to say, if you want to do to prep your bases, whether you put the pattern paper on, if you collage it with just book page, or if you collage it with like book and music page, any of those things, is to take it to the sewing machine and stitch around it. Or you know what to do, pull out your stitching stamps and just stamp around it in a stitch pattern. I had a whole set of things that I had done. I didn't have my sewing machine even out back when I did them, and so I just grabbed the stitch stamps and I stamped all the way around the edge of them because I really wanted to stitch them, and they've been put away for a long time. I pulled them out and I went, oh, this is cool. I need to go stitch some more like this. And I looked closer at it and realized that it was a stamp. They're not so obvious that they're stamps, other than that there's no thread hanging out. But those stitch stamps work really, really well. So you do not have to have a sewing machine. You do not have to use a sewing machine. But look how cool this one is now. This base where everything has been vintaged on its own, each piece by piece. And now I will go around and I will do the entire outside. So these pieces where I cut off some of their vintage look, I'll go back and ink those and add that back in. It's a very cool, I don't know, I like it. And then when you start building on it, it's just a whole different ball game. I mean, everything that we've done, every one looks different, turns out different, and could be used for in different ways to get a different look. But look how easy they all were. Super easy. You could pick one type while you're sitting down and watching a TV show and make a whole bunch of the one type. And that's what I do. That's what I would recommend. It's not that you make one of everything. You write them all down so you don't forget them. But when it comes to doing it, say you're going to cut up a bunch of file folders. You're going to take out 1 or 2 colors of ink and 1 or 2 or maybe 3 great background stamps if you're going to do 100 of them. And you're just going to cut these to size. And any size will do. They don't even have to be the same size. And you're going to just ink backgrounds on them and have a whole stack of these ready to go. Next time.
Earlier, you can use your gel plate when you're gel printing. The last.
Yes, that's a whole nother, yeah. Yeah, the next time, take out some book pages and music pages and sit down and collage those on. You know, by the time you get done with collaging them all, setting them aside, just stack them like this. That's what I do. They don't stick to each other. They just dry because they're not perfectly flat. I'll stack them like that as I'm doing them. Put them like that and put the next one over them. By the time you get done, the first ones will be dry and you can go back, turn them over, trim them up, and away you go. Now the one, where's the one? The one that I was hoping would dry.
Yeah, it's top of the hour.
Yeah. So. Okay, this is the one. This is the one that I was hoping would dry. I'm not sure it's dry yet inside, so I won't.
Karen says she loves her sewing machine, and she even hand stitched before she got her sewing machine on the table.
Oh wow! Yeah, that slow stitching is a lot of work. So kudos to you, Karen. That's amazing. Okay, so you take this one, and it's blank everywhere. There's no writing. There's no music. It's just kind of background paper. There's some grid paper and some plain. And I don't know if there's any ink left on this at all, but I'm going to try. But just put it on a background stamp. Okay, there was a little ink right there. And I'll put some more down, maybe on the rusty colored one, and get some over here. But having these inked edges and then getting this print on here looks really cool. And so don't think that it has to have something already on the paper. You can create something on the paper yourself like that. So we are at the top of the hour. We are a few minutes over the top of the hour. We have done so much today in getting card bases, tag bases prepped and ready to go. You may want to write down all the different ideas and ways and look at them and see what appeals to you most. Which type do you like the most? What couple of ones do you really want to try? Look through your stash. What kind of paper do you have? You know, what could be used there? Make yourself some tag bases. Take a picture and put them in the group. And today's hashtag is, let's see, hashtag Monday Jumpstart Tags. Hashtag Monday Jumpstart Tags.
And the video, ladies, if you forget.
Yes, it's in the title. If you look right down there, it's in the title of today's video. We do drawings from people who post their pictures in the group, in the private group, with that hashtag. You need to have the hashtag so I can search them. Glennis searches them for me. And then come back into the video as soon as we go off air here and leave a comment about the tag video we did today, the tag workshop, and use the hashtag 1000 subs, 1000 subs. That will get you in the drawing for the giant box of crafty goodness that is filling up. And don't forget that if you invite one person, 2 happy paper people, and they join the Facebook group and they subscribe to the YouTube channel, then I'm going to put a post in. I'll do it as soon as we leave here. I'll pin it to the top. You can go there and leave a comment and tag the person that you invited in. And Laura is going to send you a pack of cards, playing cards, different game cards, because we're going to be doing some more things with altered cards coming up. So if you don't have any or you need some more, this is a way for you to get a pack of those. So I can't wait to see all the bases, tag bases that you guys use and create, because that's always fun, our little differences that we do. So I'll get a picture of mine.
So Karen asked how long you had been paper crafting, Marianne. She's just curious.
Well, let's see. I've been a crafter of some sort or other since I was a kid, artistic musician and artistic for my whole life. But as far as junk journals and this kind of paper crafting, just over 2 years. Junk journals were all new to me. I'd never seen them before or heard of them before. As soon as I saw them, I dove into them to figure out what they were because I thought they were so cool. And I love making the stuff. But I do love the grungy like this. And I also love the clean lines of those albums. So you'll see both from me. Some people like one, some people like the other, some people like both. So we'll get a little bit of all of it here. It will be a random selection, carefully curated to fit in an envelope. I love that, Laura. And cards can be made into tags. They make great tags. Yes. And Candy has some pretty tags right there on her desk. Dude, look at that. That's gorgeous. Yeah. What is that? Is that the piece of cardstock, or what did you lay on top of it? What did you
This is book page and some rice paper. Heavy rice paper.
See, that's a whole nother one. The rice paper is just like this tissue paper. You can use any kind of tissue paper or rice paper, and they make gorgeous tags. And that's how you can make tags to match. If you get like Sir Vagabond or Time is an Illusion or some of the Stamperia pads that we have, and you want to do an album or a journal that's around that theme, you can get a couple of pieces of rice paper and make you dozens of tags with tearing them up and using bits and pieces. You don't have to have the whole tag covered. And so they all coordinate. So awesome. Those are really beautiful. I totally agree. Yes. Oh, thank you, Karen. Thank you. Oh, you fell in love with junk journal last October. So,
These are some digital ones.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Candy's
just print them on heavy paper and they're already done.
Wow. Those are cool. Karen, so happy to have you join the group. So glad that you're here. Can't wait to see some pictures of some of the things you create. This you will find is the nicest group for posting pictures because everybody appreciates everybody else's style. You will never, ever, ever, I'm confident saying that, you'll never get a nasty comment in this group. Those kind of people just do not exist in this group. They don't stay here because they don't fit. They don't fit in. So it's a wonderful.
You get snark, but not nasty.
Snarky. And if you get snark, then you know that they love you. But nothing mean and nasty. So, okay. So we will see you in the group. And then other than that, we'll see you back here Thursday at 2:00 for our mass make. So everybody, I hear Kitty.
Yes, she wants in.
Everybody have the rest of a great day. And thanks so much for joining us today. Thank you, Candy, for helping me out. Do appreciate it and look forward to seeing you guys on Thursday and in the group. Love y'all.
Love you, ladies.
Bye-bye.
Bye.